Welcome into the Landon Tangwall Show and the ultimate guide to the 2026 Texas offensive line. Today, we're going to be diving into the film of the 5 projected starters on this offensive line, give you everything that you need to know about this group. Now, it's not a secret that this offensive line and Kyle Flood underperformed last year. Arch Manning, the most pressured quarterback in the SEC, and you didn't run the football how you wanted to run the football. But the 3 guys you returned, I feel really good about. Obviously, All-American level left tackle, Trevor Goosby out there. Connor Robertson at center, someone that is continuing to progress, and it feels like every game he is getting much better. And then a guy I am unfathomably high on, Brandon Baker, making the move from right tackle into right guard. We're going to dive into that one on the tape, you best believe. So you got gaps at right tackle, left guard. To fill the right tackle gap, you go out, you get Melvin Siani, Wake Forest transfer, a guy who is known as elite pass protector, but we're going to talk about it. He's got some really, really good run game too. And then Laurence Seymore from Western Kentucky comes in to play left guard. So you look at this, it's a group of guys that have now played a lot of snaps. There's a lot of starts under the belt of these guys, especially compared to last year's offensive line. So you're a lot more experienced. And when I study this offensive line in a vacuum, each guy, I'm incredibly impressed with how athletic they are, how they're all elite pass protectors, but offensive line is not played in a vacuum. It's played 5 as 1. It's really the only thing in sports where it's 5 guys as 1. And I think the only thing that I'm looking at on this offensive line is that none of them have ever played next to each other. So Goosby has never played next to Seymore. Seymore has never played next to Robertson. And by the way, Seymore, he didn't enroll till it's like May, June. So he missed all of spring ball. So he didn't get the spring ball snaps either. But Robertson obviously has not played next to Brandon Baker. They've played with each other, but Brandon Baker's always been at tackle. So you got no snaps there between the two. And then Baker's never played next to Siani. So a lot of snaps, but at the same time, no real snaps together. So it's not really a question of how talented this offensive line is. I think they're uber talented and maybe even have the case for the most talented offensive line across the board when you just look at the players. It's more of a question of how are they going to gel, because you got 2 marquee matchups within the first 4 weeks. So we got to gel, and we have to gel quickly. Now, I'll give you this to take back to the tailgates and the watch parties as this season starts to come on here. Sark and Flood, they built this offensive line with 2 things in mind. As I watched this tape, it became very evident to me. This offensive line was put together, number 1, to protect Arch Manning. What happened last year is not going to happen again, and that's why they built the offensive line the way they built it. The other thing is they're going to get outside in the run game. They're going to run outside zone. They're going to run pin and pull. They're going to get their athletes moving. And you also got some athletes on the line of scrimmage that are going to be able to move and get out in space and cover up those linebackers and safeties. But that's going to be the name of the game, is get these uber talented skill players you have on offense, get them the ball in space. And I think that's where this offensive line also thrives. So we're going to start out with someone who I think is playing elite football, especially on the back half of last season. I think he's got the opportunity to be one of the best linemen in all of college football in 2026. And it's probably not who you think I am going to say. And guys, if you want more Texas film breakdowns like this one, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because I do not want you to miss it. And we're going to have more coming at you guys. Also, thank you to West Shore Home for bringing you guys today's video. They do great home remodeling work. So if you're interested, the link is in the comment section below. You're looking to upgrade the home, they got you. Also, locations in Austin, Dallas, and Houston. All right, without further ado, let's roll the tape. All right, we're going to start out with Brandon Baker's run game, and I've watched a lot of offensive line tape. Not many guys move like this in the run game, and when I say move like this, it's just a pure acceleration. So we got outside zone left. I'm the backside tackle. I know I got to reach this 3 technique, and I'm not going to get much help from my guard because he has to go. But watch this pure acceleration, toe strike, positive shin angle, and in about 2.5 steps, we have fully reached this 3 technique. And not only that, now we're pressing this thing vertical, and what that does allows a really nice cutback lane for Wisner right here. So really, when you're running outside zone, you get 2 things. You're either hitting this play side if you're Wisner, or you're waiting and you're going to cut off this backside tackle's block right here like Wisner does. And this is going to be so important for Baker at guard, creating this acceleration and movement on the interior in 2026, and that's why I'm so excited about his move. But I mean, you just see this movement, you see the vertical push, and the ability to create a huge cutback lane for Wisner right here. That is textbook outside zone. One more time, watch this thing. Absolutely no help here. I mean, that is absurd. Now, this thing gets blown up play side, so normally you wouldn't notice this, but I just want you to watch. Once again, zero help from his guard. Watch him stab this foot. 1, 2, 3, and we have already reached this 3 technique. Goosby just gets blown up right here. If he doesn't, look at the cutback lane that we have once again created, because he does such a good job of, once he reaches him, Baker does, he leans back into this. Watch him sink down. He plants this foot in the ground, dips down, and puts his shoulder back into this, because he knows his goal is, hey, I want to create a cavity that if my running back, if Wisner wants to cut back here, he can. That is textbook. When he's doing that at guard, it's going to create a lot of big lanes on the interior. I think he is going to be so vital to this run game on the inside. And then let's just talk about 2 steps inside. I'm going to sink down into this thing. And now you're going for a ride. Finish him off the screen. That's the nastiness we need on the interior of this Texas offensive line. I love this. All right, now let's talk Brandon Baker in pass pro. And I think there's a lot of qualities that he shows at tackle that show why he's going to be elite at guard in pass pro. Right here, heavy hands. Watch as you get this inside move from this Mississippi State defensive end. He goes outside hand strike. Watch this inside hand. Bow! You see this guy's head get absolutely, as soon as that left hand comes, boom, gets jolted back. Those are hands I don't want to see. Those are hands that are going to absolutely stop a rusher, boom, in his tracks, and he's not going anywhere else. All right, the other thing that I see a lot of is he understands leverage. So he gets hands-on right here, right? And we're feeling good. Do you see this elbow and how he turns that up in? We'll run this back one more time. But this just shows why he is such a great anchor. So he does not get bull rush. He got bull rush a little bit week 1 against Ohio State. It didn't happen again the rest of the year. So look at this right arm. It's out fully straight. Watch him rotate this thing inwards and lift up. Ready? Rotate in. You see how that elbow's now in and it's pushing up. That's straight strength, and now he is, with his right arm, lifting this defensive end up into the sky, and he has him right where he wants him. He cannot go anywhere. That is straight up clamp city, and I absolutely love that rep right there. All right, here we go. Posting down in. Once again, almost blocking 2 for a second here. I love this. Once again, we're talking anchor right here. We're not looking at the rest of the offensive line. We'll get to the rest. But I love this. He knows that he's posting down. If this guy loops out, he leaves him. But I like how he gives a little bit of a help hand for when his guy's pulling around, so he's able to get on top of him. Now, here's what I like. You get on this defensive tackle. This is where he's going to live. He's going to live as the guard, and this tackle's going to be out here. You're going to get a lot of bull rushes and power moves. How does he deal with the bull rush and power moves? This is what I really like. Watch how his hands are in, but he's not exactly set, so he hops back. He goes hop technique, and watch this left arm. He fully re-bites this thing because this arm was outside. As he's hopping, re-bites this arm back up underneath. He's able to get in a really nice base, and I got my hands back inside, and I am sitting down on this thing, and you're not getting near my quarterback. I love this rep. You can watch it one more time, full speed. Helps out a little bit here. We're getting here. We're not in the best position. Boom. Rebite our feet, rebite our hands, and we're sitting down on that thing. That is textbook pass pro. And let's talk about, once again, we were talking about anchor, but just the ability to stop a guy. Just it's not an issue for him at all. I really like this clamp technique he uses too, where he goes inside hand right on that hip, and then outside hand kind of comes with a hook to make sure it gets on, and boom. And what you see how he just clamps down on that thing, and these hands are almost like pushing against each other and just like collapsing this guy in. This defensive end is going absolutely nowhere. Good luck getting anywhere on Brandon Baker. So anytime you want to use a power move on this guy, I just think you're SOL. You are crap out of luck. And that's why I'm so big on him at guard and pass pro. I don't think he's going to allow any sacks because he's so good with his anchor and rebiting his hands and staying in this type of base right here. And then one more time, let's go to Georgia. You get the same thing. It just looks like the rusher almost gives up because that's how strong Brandon Baker is when he gets out. So first thing that I like is he kind of goes this circle punch because these hands are coming inside. So he goes circle punch with the right arm, boom. And then once again, he goes inside hand, low, and starts to kind of lift up. And once again, we rebite these feet. We're sitting back down, and it's just completely stood up. Did not stand a chance once again. This is one of the more impressive plays right here. He blocks 2 guys and tries as long as he can to help out Arch. It's kind of the story of the year right there, wasn't it? But what you get here is you get 3 for 3 slides. So you got 3 offensive linemen, three defenders right here, and what you get the inside, loop around, and he's going outside. And the problem is right guard doesn't get off quick enough, and Baker sees that, so he's trying to help, and he knows I got to get off the floor at some point. But he's like, I'm going to help you, blocks him as long as he can, and then finally he has to get off on 4. But blocking 2 there, like we got a guy that not only has this anchor, but he's a high IQ player and is going to help out his team as much as possible. You don't see a lot of plays like this. This is why I'm so high on Brandon Baker and why I think he's going to be an All-American. Now let's talk about recovery. Recovery is huge. You're not always going to be in a great position at guard or really anywhere an offensive line plays. So he's using this hand to feel if there's going to be any type of twist. He sees, okay, there's no twist. He gets a nice outside hand thrown down, and this defensive end does a good job. Gets into his chest and starts to kind of move him upfield. So now we are falling backwards. We got 1 foot in the ground. We're in a crossover fall. Look at how he resets his feet from this position, stabs these feet in the ground, sinks down, gets back into a great base, and is able to sink back and get back exactly where he needs to be to allow Arch to deliver this football out. Like I said, not every play is going to look perfect. But when you got plays like this where you are in a bad situation and you end up in this position, that's a hell of a rep, and that tells me you're just an elite athlete. One more time. Here we go. Let's talk about recovery. He gets tripped up, and you don't see it too obviously here, but watch, because they're bringing so many people. This linebacker actually trips Baker a little bit. You can see his feet get tangled up. That's why he's falling out of this thing. Once again, watch the recovery. Watch him just, boom, sit back down, rebite. That is going to do him so well at guard on the interior. Anytime he gets beat, he can just recover. He gets his hands back in, his feet back in the ground. This guy is going to be an All-American this season. I promise you. All right, now we are talking Trevor Goosby and his pass pro, and it's an absolute thing of beauty. Here we are against Georgia, and the biggest thing I want to talk about are his hands. This is why he's so elite, is because he understands how to use his hands perfectly. So first thing that you're going to get here is you're going to get this. Once the defensive end is within range, we're going to go outside hand strike with this left hand. As that gets swiped down, comes in with the right hand, really, really nice independent hands. So we're creating a little bit of space now so I can reset. And now he sees, okay, chest is open. He's probably going to give me a power move is what Goosby's thinking. So now Goosby, and he sees it. Look at this. He's launching out with his head. So now watch Goosby go from independent hands, beautiful, to double under, and I'm lifting this guy straight up, leveraging that power, using his power up against him and putting him back up into the air. That is a perfect pass pro rep right here. And when I watch his reps, this is the reason why he wins so many reps, because his hands are just so good and he is so technical with them. It is a thing of beauty. It is precise. Here we go. We're getting out again. Once again, really, really, really nice hands here. So slow it down. First thing that you see is you get this left strike. Normally he goes outside hand strike first. So defensive end tries to swipe that down. He gets that down, but this is why you use independent hands. Goosby sees, okay, he's going to try to run the arc. Now I'm going to come with this inside hand and hit his shoulder pad. Boom. See, hand on the shoulder pad. And now I'm going to just try to run him upfield. So he uses that right inside hand, throw him upfield, and I'm just going to run him right past Arch. So once again, really technical with hands. This is why you use independent hands, because if it gets swiped down, I can come with the other one, and I'm just running him upfield. That is a very, very clean rep right there. I want you to just watch this one. Just watch this in full speed. Tell me that's art. Boy, you are a piece of art, Goosby. I love you, brother. My gosh. Okay, let's go slow again. So right here, he actually kind of goes two-hand punch. Misses left hand, gets swiped off. You can see right hand kind of makes it in here. But there's so much hand fighting. Both hands get off. And now we're going to, boom, come with both hands again. Both hands get swiped off again. Then he works a spin move and just does a great job keeping this right hand on. And he's right there for that spin back inside. He was never going to beat Goosby on that one. But once again, this is what I mean. Like, he is a surgeon with his hands. They never stop moving. And if they get swiped down, they're going to get put back on you. Those paws are getting put on you. And Goosby's going to go ahead and sit down on that thing. Absolutely love it. One more time. Well, look at that rep. Look at that. Look at that. That's domination. His father's got to watch that. That defense, his father, look at him, still on top of him. That is some sicko stuff right there. Nice touchdown. All right, Howe. Going against Howe, obviously really, really good rusher here. So once again, goes outside hand strike. Like I told you, his favorite thing is left outside hand strike first. Throws that, and as Howe, you can see he gets his hand and he's able to throw that down. That's when Goosby comes in with that right inside hand, and you see he lands it right on the shoulder pad, and his plan now is it's clear that Hal has completely declared that he is going to rush upfield. So Goosby says, that's fine. I'm going to put my right hand on your shoulder pad, throw you upfield, and I'm just going to run you on the arc, and then I'm going to lay on top of you and let you know who daddy is. That's what's going to happen right here. So I love that rep. He won, I think, almost every single rep against Cassius Hal, who was obviously a very good draft pick. But Goosby really showed why he is one of the best offensive tackles in all of college football against him there. Now, let's talk about the one thing where I just see a little bit of problems with Goosby and his 3 sacks that he allowed. Most of them really just came from this. And you see this in the run game sometimes with him. We saw it on the Brandon Baker clip earlier. He just leans a little bit. Like I said, these reps are few and far between. There's a reason that this guy is All-American level. But you get similar stuff you were getting earlier where you get 2 hands on, you're in a good place, but now he'll just kind of lose that core strength a little bit, and he'll start to bend at the waist. And what that does is at the top of the rush, it allows the rusher to kind of just bend that edge, and his legs will get really straight too. So work on that core strength, work on just sitting in those legs a little bit longer at the top of the rush. And I don't think he gets beat at all this year, but you're not going to see Trevor Goosby get beat much, but I just wanted to include this. We always do the good and the bad, and that's the one place where I saw a little bit of deficiency in his game is those legs get straight, and sometimes he can be a waist bender. All right, let's talk about the best part of Goosby in the run game, and that's his blocking in space. You're going to run a lot of pin pull this year where you're blocking down, and you're pulling guys around, and I love when Goosby's pulling because it means someone's going in the dirt in there, and then we're coming for more. Just give him one more. And then look, he tries, as soon as Goosby looks away, he tries to get one off on Goosby. Best believe he gets his get back later. But I really like this. He does a great job pulling with depth and always just like tracking the right guy. This isn't really his man. This is supposed to be blocked up, but he just sees color and he says, hey, I got you. I'm going to put that in the dirt, put this young man on his butt, and then I'm going up and I'm getting more. Do not worry about it. I just love how he moves in space. This isn't technically run game, but still blocking in space. Watch him smack the ever-living life out of that helmet, and then we're getting on a great line. A lot of offensive linemen struggle with lining up DBs and even puts them in the dirt right there. And then off of his block, we get off for a huge gain. But a lot of offensive linemen struggle with like time and space where I have to line this up. Sometimes they go too fast. Sometimes they take the wrong angle. Goosby is so good at adjusting, sinking. Look how low he gets on this defensive back. And then he's able to still finish this thing off. There was no way he wasn't finishing. Legs in the air, put him in that position, and we're off for a huge gain. I love that rep right there. One more time, we're just working outside zone, like I'm saying. Working in space, just putting guys in the dirt, just being a physical man in nature. I love this. Once again, he's never out of control. He's under control. Linebacker declares outside. That's all right. I'll take you where you want to go. I'm 2 hands on, throwing you down, and I'm going to get on there, get a little bit more for myself too. Don't worry about that. So really, really like what he does in the run game when he is moving in space. I think this is an athletic offensive line where you're going to be running a lot of pin pull, outside zone, and that's where Goosby is going to excel. All right, now we're going to talk Melvin Siani, Wake Forest transfer, who's going to play right tackle. And we're going to start out with his run game. Most people are talking about his pass pro, which I think, yes, is probably the best part of his game. But he's got some nasty run game where he just straight up accelerates. So watch this right here. He's got a deuce block with his guard over to 20. Now, he sees that 20 follows this motion that you get. So now he sees, okay, I got no one to block to. I'm going to go all in on 6. His guard holds this thing up, and there's just a nice hip and rib cage. And Siani says, bet, I'm accelerating into this thing. Bow! And we're taking it, then pancaking him, taking all of his manhood away from him. There's some physicality in this kid's game. Now, you want to talk about movement and why I say this is going to be an outside zone pin pull team. Watch him reach this play side outside zone. It is so quick. We were talking about Brandon Baker earlier. He's got some Brandon Baker in him. I'll just play it from the start. Watch. Do you see that acceleration, that toe stab? Now, once again, the play goes nowhere because they don't hit it outside, but he reaches this just how he needs to, pushes off this foot, stabs this foot in the ground once again, toe strike, and then once again in 2.5 steps, we have reached this, fully boxes this thing in. I would have loved for this to get outside. Now you got guys out here, but that is how you set up outside zone. You are going to be able to run outside zone to the right when this guy's at right tackle because he's got the twitch, he's got the acceleration to get out there and seal everything back in. All right, here we go. Talking about movement. Watch him just climb up the linebacker and get on this guy. This is speed. Once again, this is why you're going to be able to run so much outside run because your guys can all just move like this because they can just stab and get up on these linebackers so quick. And he's, once again, very similar to Goosby in the fact that he's really good at getting on second-level guys and staying on top of them. And he's just completely, look, even walls this thing completely off. That is a beautiful rep on outside zone. And then right here, we're running pin pull. Like I said, we're going to run it. You see Texas run it a lot. Look at him. He wants to bury 7, but really good in movement. Eyes him up, sinks down, does a great job throwing this thing out of the club, creating a lot of nice space for his running back to get up inside. So you're going to get a guy that can absolutely move in the run game. He's not a bulldozer. You're not going to get a ton of just dominating, pancaking reps, but you got a guy that's an athlete that can get on top of DBs and linebackers in space. All right, let's talk about what Siani was paid to come here and do, and that is protect Arch Manning, his pass pro right here. Really, really nice rep, hand fighting. Kind of looked like that Goosby rep from earlier. Let's talk about this. So he's setting on a 45-degree angle, throws that flash hand. That flash hand is to try, he's obviously not trying to touch the defensive end from here. It's just to get the defensive end to react and try to get him into a move. So now defensive end goes in. He's going to go into some type of bull rush inside move. So Siani throws that inside right jab and lands it, and then that starts to work this defensive end into a spin move, and this left hand is right there to stay on his back, able to kind of push him off a little bit, so then Siani can jump back, reset, and both hands are in. I'm in perfect position, feet are in the ground, and we're stopping that in its tracks. That's a fantastic way to stop a rusher. Now, one thing that I love about his pass pro is how he can go from, you saw that 45-degree vertical sets, but he mixes in a lot of jump sets, where he just, boom, just goes and attacks the defensive end and gets on top of him, and you're going absolutely nowhere. And why that's important, a lot of guys have the same set over and over. And the thing is, that allows the defensive end to get a beat on exactly what you're doing. When you mix it up where I might be going 45, I might be going vertical, I might just come and just one step, and we call this a 3-step short, actually. You might as well call it a jump set, but where he kind of fakes upright, he goes upright, and then boom, we're going to attack. And look at those vice grips. You're not getting out of there. Siani's absolutely clamps you down. Really, really nice rep, mixing up your sets here. Once again, good luck. He's trying. Look, Siani's shaking his head no in the middle of the set. That's how you know this guy's confident in his pass pro. 0 sacks allowed last year. Lets him declare outside. Once again, really good hands. Just sits down on this thing, and it's clamped down. You don't see a lot of power moves get by Siani. Does a really, really good job just sitting down on a lot of these rushes. One more time right here. What I really like about this rep against Florida State, not only does he just pancake him and sit on top of him, but it's how he handles this rusher. So you get a pretty tight rusher. Like I said, he switches up his sets. He's going vertical here. Now, he sees, and it looks like this contact's going to be pretty soon, but if you watch, 93 jumps off of this outside foot and turns this into more of like a bend instead of going straight at him. So when Siani sees that, he kind of opens up, he pushes off this right leg and kind of jumps out this way to widen out the rusher and run him up the field. Like, that's just a really, really clean rep. He doesn't take the bait. He doesn't like lunge for him right there. He does a good job being patient. If he wants to run the arc, I'm going to take you where you want to go, and just throws him down. So good rep there. The one thing that I saw, and like I said, we talked about good and bad, it was kind of similar to Goosby, that sometimes he would just lean out towards the end of his pass set, and that would get him edged a couple times. Like I said, didn't give up a sack. These reps were few and far between of even getting a pressure on Siani, but that was the only time where I saw him ever lose. Was it just he would just get out of his legs a little bit, and he would lean with his upper half, and it would get him in just a little bit of trouble. Now, what's interesting, I went back because I wanted to watch his Temple tape, because that's when he played right tackle. That's what he's going to be playing here at Texas. And one thing I noticed from Temple in 2024 is he had a huge leaning problem. Every single rep was this. You see how he literally just like ducks his head, legs are straight, and back is basically in a straight line. That's not where you want to be. So that's good, because that tells me he had a huge problem that he then corrected. Because I said, like, look, that leaning issue in 2025 when he was at Wake Forest, it was a little bit of a problem, but like 0 sacks allowed, only a couple pressures. It was not that much of a problem. This was almost every rep for him at Temple. So he has gotten way better. So what that means to me is he is only going to continue to get way better. This guy's gotten more eligibility too. So I went back and watched. I think he's going to be great at right tackle. I don't think it's going to change too much. I don't think this is something he's going to like revert back into because he's at right tackle. But it was just something I noted that, hey, he got a lot better at this, and I think he's only going to continue to get a lot better for Texas in 2026. All right, now we're talking Western Kentucky transfer Laurence Seymore, who's the projected starting left guard. And he was brought here to pass protect. This is what he does best. And it's become very evident to me watching these guys. I said this at the beginning of the video, that this group was brought in to protect Arch Manning and be athletic in the run game. They are not exactly maulers, but we'll get to his run game in a little bit. But I love this rep. So defensive end spiking inside. I promise you, even if you get into his chest, his right hand is like outside. This defensive end, he wins inside. Like he is inside Laurence Seymour's chest. You cannot bull rush him. There is no power move that I saw Laurence Seymore get beat on because he's already huge and he knows how to use power angles where he is just kind of sitting down on this a little bit. He brought his hips through and he is just kind of lifting this defensive end up. How we saw with Brandon Baker, saw the same thing with Goosby. Like he is so good at just sitting down on any power move. And then if you jump, you're going in the dirt too. So that is what he brings to the table the best. It is pass pro. It is the fact that no one is going to muscle him. I don't think you're going to see any bull rushes against Brandon Baker or Laurence Seymore. Good luck to any interior defensive line. One thing I love about this kid, how quickly he fires his hands. This is why you can't see it from the end zone view, but you watch from the side view. As it's snapped, like he's not even able to reach him yet, but he just throws those hands out. And then when he doesn't land initially, he even just goes and just puts paws on him. Like he just goes to get him in pass pro. And I love that because so many guys take so long to throw their hands. They're too late and they allow guys to get into their chest. Seymore is generally the opposite. He is going to throw his hands so early and this guy's hand is almost still on the ground and his paws are already on him. And the game is over. The fight is over. If Laurence Seymore gets his hands on someone and he's in decent position, he's not going to lose that pass rep battle. Gave up 1 sack and it was in the final game of the season last year. He is about as good as it gets when it comes to pass protecting at guard. You're just going to see him get on top of guys and the rep, it's done. Finito, finished. Same thing here. We're getting on top of this. We are essentially just jump setting at guard, and I love how he does it. First thing, now it's a little bit different here. You're going to see him. He's actually going to throw his hands. He's going to throw a little bit of bait out there. So you can tell people watch film. So he's saying, hey, I'm going to throw that bait out. I'm going to take it away. And he didn't see the defensive line really react at all. So he says, all right, I threw the bait. You didn't do anything. Now I'm just going to, boom, 2 hands on. And once again, rep over because I'm sitting down on that thing. He might rebite his hands a little bit, but you're not, like you see on all these reps, he doesn't get pushed back at all. There is no pushback against Laurence Seymore. He is just locked down in pass pro. Now, you might ask, okay, what else is so good about his hands being so heavy? It's these stunts. You're going to see a ton of stunts in the SEC. So right here, you're going to go ahead and you're going to get a TE. So the T is the penetrator, the end is the looper. What I want you to see, and what the most important thing is for a guard, is to pass off the penetrator. Watch him pass this off to his guard, throws it over, and then he's right there. And like I said, you're not bull rushing this guy. That is a beautiful rep, and working against stunts, absolutely love this one. Like I said, you're going to see this. You're going to have to be able to help out your tackle when you're working over there with Goosby. But I just love how he passes this off. That's a physical rep. I had like 15 more of these same plays. He just does it really, really well. So you're getting an elite pass protector on the inside out of this kid. All right, now let's talk Seymore in the run game. And you got a good amount of clips against LSU here. I think he gets off the ball fairly well. This is kind of a hurry-up situation where not everybody was lined up. You do get a little bit of a false step here if you watch these feet, how they both kind of jump back. And then he goes, but clears a really, really nice hole here, completely walls this thing off. So you got a really, really nice lane for your running back. So this is a very solid rep right here. And there's a lot of times where I see really good technique where if you watch, he is on this combo block, this single block with the center, and watch how he dips underneath this. I mean, 12 comes off fairly low, and you watch him sink and just get these hands underneath. Boom, under, and then we're lift. This guy drops to a knee, but does a really good job and then gets up on the linebacker. So, overall, some solid reps here. I will say there's not a whole lot of like road grading from this guy. And once again, common theme with this offensive line. These are not guys that are bullies. They are going to be more athletic pass protectors. And really that was my biggest thing with Seymore. And I guess my biggest worry as a whole is there was a lot of reps where he was just getting controlled and pushed back like this. Gets fairly dominated here. So my biggest thing is when you do need to run up the middle. Like I said, we're going to get to our guy Robertson in a second, and I have a lot of faith in Brandon Baker, but I am a little bit worried about him just overall in the run game when we got to be physical, go mano-a-mano. Hasn't shown a ton of ability to do that at a high level. All right, last but not least, returning center Connor Robertson. This is a guy that, once again, you're noticing a common theme. His best trait in the run game, he can move. And when we get into pin and pull here, he can get out in space and get on top of linebackers. Yes, you've heard that for a couple guys now, and that's why I think this team is going to be so big in the outside zone, pin and pull game, but just does such a good job slowing down, lining this up, making sure, understanding the leverage. Look at him sink down. He's giving a little bit of a shot to 27 and then keeps those feet running to make sure, hey, I'm going to create this lane for my running back to be able to get out of there. So far and away, like he has a ton of these blocks where he's just getting out in space, getting on top of a linebacker and creating some big runs. Here we go. Goal line. Same exact thing. Pin and pull. We got 3 guys pulling around. Love how he lines this thing up. Boom. And clearing that. Look at Wisner going in on the front flip. I love it. But like I said, this is harder than most people assume to be able to line these guys up. And you can even see how he adjusts, like the way he's probably running at this angle, then he starts to go more vertical, then he adjusts back, and then he just throws his body into another man and gets his running back in the end zone. And then even outside zone, look at him reach this thing. And once again, play doesn't go anywhere. It gets blown up because of a couple missed blocks. But I just want you to see, you get this slanting 3 technique that slants inside, so his eyes are in his gap. He does a great job seeing this, and he uses kind of a skip pull here where he pushes off this right foot, brings this left foot behind him, and really it allows him within about 2 steps-ish to completely reach this thing. And then similar when we were watching Baker earlier, he's really good at reaching it and then pushing it vertical. You see this left arm is up in there, and he's pushing vertical. Like I said, we missed a couple other blocks elsewhere, but this is one hell of a rep from Robertson moving in space. Now, talking about where does he struggle in run game, really the only place I see some big-time struggle is when we get a lot of movement, which is kind of funny because he's good at in space. But when we get like these slants and stuff around the line of scrimmage, sometimes he'll lean a little bit and he'll get caught, obviously falls down here. But just those eyes up quicker. As he gets more snaps and more reps, I think he's going to get better at this. This is kind of a timing thing, and getting more reps will get you more confident in picking up these type of linebacker blitzes that are flying in the A-gap. But that was really just the one downside I saw to his run game. All right, now let's talk Robertson in pass pro, and this is one hell of a rep here. When he deals with stunts so well, and that's part of the reason why I have so much faith in him, because he's able to pass these off. So what I want you to see is he's sliding to the right here. What we have is these 3 offensive linemen for these 3 Georgia defenders. Now, he identifies very quickly when 81 starts to slant in, and he's kind of like hesitating. He's not working a move straight into Robertson. Robertson realizes, oh crap, they are running a stunt where he is the penetrator, he is the looper. But if you watch, he keeps his eyes on him, but he puts this arm out to feel the stunt coming, and he goes, okay, I feel him now. I'm going to absorb this. I'm going to grab this. He does a good job getting this over and then staying on top of this, and even gets off. And then if 6 were to rush, he was going to be there to be on top of it. But this is what I mean of being like, he makes sure everybody is straight. That is the job of the center, but this is a high IQ player in pass pro. He is always ready for the twists, the stunts, all of it, and you're going to see a lot of that this year, and it's only becoming more and more prevalent for all these defenses across college football. So the fact that he is this smart, that he put out that arm and saw it instantly, was really, really impressive to me. One more time. Just dealing with these 3 guys coming off the edge. He's in the slide. He has the A-gap, and he's always there. He might as well be the babysitter. He's going to make sure everybody's safe, everybody's protected, and we're in a good place. Sorry, we had to watch this rep again. This was this was the rep earlier from our boy Baker out here, but just it's a clean rep. Always in the gap that needs to be. Make sure everything is locked down. I think he's going to be the centerpiece. Get a centerpiece of this offensive line, and he is going to have to make sure all these guys are on the same page. But in pass pro, you got nothing to worry about. He is going to be on top of it.